In 2022, I made a financial mistake in crypto that honestly left me with a lot of shame, uh, guilt, anger, frustration, sadness, even, and a lot of different other feelings that I remember very vividly. Uh, and I really want to share this story because I feel that this is a pivotal moment and a catalyst to how I started to actually think about money and how I started to have a different uh, philosophical way of managing money or even thinking about life, career, hustle culture, and so on. Um, so this is the story. For a bit of context, I uh, started to work in Bangkok around 2021. And this was the time where I had shifted my money over to crypto exchange because it was really difficult for me to transfer this money through any other means. Honestly, this is already a huge risk, knowing that some places may not accept crypto, some suppliers or buyers might not be able to accept certain types of crypto and so on. So it was a huge risk that I took because I also didn't have a lot of options. And so 2021, a lot of my money is in crypto and on this exchange, specifically Binance. Um, but what changed during that time of me exploring crypto was the idea that as a Burmese, one thing to note is that because of our passport and because of our country's history and so on, there are a lot of places that don't allow us to open specific bank accounts, open investment accounts. You know, we are barred from having investment instruments that allow us to essentially invest. And so seeing this crypto platform and all the different ways that we could invest and the different ways that I can use my money to basically make more money was really liberating. And I remember thinking, oh wow, like I already have my money in this platform. Why don't I just use it to actually start this investment? And the other thing is, you know, this platform and all these other um, DeFi, decentralized finance platforms or apps, so to speak, really are offering crazy returns. And when we're talking about crazy returns, we're talking about like what, 20%, 22%, maybe some of them that are more crazy are offering what, 35 to sometimes even 50%, average return per year uh, in percent. So, you're as a younger version of myself, I'm looking at this and I'm going, wow, this is a lot of money that I can make in a short amount of time. And at that time, I was also greedy. I wanted to make as much money as I can in the small amount of time possible, and obviously took on a lot of risk. Um, Generally, investment advisors will say, invest 10 to maybe 5 to 10% of your total wealth in crypto. I did a lot more than that. So, yeah. Anyway, so that's the context behind this. So, um, in my previous video, I did talk about how I started to save money. This is that story of me saving money, but also putting a lot of my money into crypto because it's such an exhilarating experience of actually seeing your dollar getting, grown through the platform, and you're actually seeing these results in real time. Crypto exchanges, with real time data, it's quite addicting to see the growth of your investment accounts. So before 2022, I had been putting more money into investments in crypto. I had particularly been more invested in a blockchain called Luna, Terra Luna, to be more specific. And this was at that time the third largest market cap coin across all of the different coins. So you had Bitcoin, you had Ethereum, then you had Luna. So it was pretty solid, so to speak. And one of those added factors where I'm looking at this platform and thinking, or looking at this coin and thinking that this is a viable option, is the number of people that were talking about this coin, the number of backers that were behind this, the market cap that was behind this, and the other thing where this is more of an echo chamber and an ego thing. You had so many people on Twitter, now X, talking passionately about projects that they're building on the coin, on this network, about the returns that they're making, about the kinds of investment strategies that they're using, what kinds of returns they're getting. So really, I was essentially stuck in this echo chamber, and I didn't realize it until quite later on, until I lost it all, basically. But it was a strong echo chamber, and it was something where I didn't want to get out of, because it felt exhilarating and it felt like I was part of a revolutionary community. And I started, if I could recall correctly, I believe I started investing in this coin when it was valued at around $40 or $50 per coin. At the peak of 2022, so early 2022, I remembered that the coin hit roughly like $90 to maybe even $100. That was, honestly, I felt like I was at the top of the world. I felt like I had so much in my in my investments, and it felt wild. It felt wild. Looking back, it does look a lot like gambling, and it is technically gambling in a lot of ways. But I didn't know of that at that time. So here's where things go wrong. I believe this was the 9th of May 2022. Or maybe we go a few days before that. The timeline was that roughly around the 7th or the 8th of, the 6th or the 7th of May, there was a huge withdrawal of funds from this network at one go. And I think this created a shift in the network where the algorithm could not basically peg the US dollar or $1 to one coin or one UST. I believe that was the fiat equivalent. And when that happens, the algorithm tries to go back to 1-to-1 ratio. But the thing was, the withdrawal was so huge and at a small amount of time that the algorithm could not rebalance itself. So there was a huge inflationary period during this time where the algorithm was basically essentially printing a lot of coins to try to balance its 1-to-1 ratio. Essentially what was happening was the coin was falling in terms of value very rapidly. I had noticed this, but at the same time, the Twitter ecosphere were saying, okay, don't worry about this, we got this, just hold on for dear life, HODL, huddle for dear life, and just keep at it, and there were lots of people that were also trying to save the network and save the coin, and I believe, yes, so uh, 9th of May. I already had a job. I was on my second job in Bangkok at that time. It was a stable job. I went to my job at the office, and we were having a stand-up meeting in the morning. And I remember specifically that during that meeting, I was already pretty nervous because I had seen my portfolio go down, say, 30-40%. And I was already panicking, but I didn't pull out my money from the platform or anything. I just kept at it. And I remembered seeing a notification saying that people were starting to freak out and say things are going down. You better pull your money out now, otherwise, yeah, you're gonna lose it. And I saw that, and at first I was like, well, there are a lot of people that are trying to save this. It is a tried and tested network. That's at least what I've heard from the Twitter sphere. And so I still had blind confidence in the fact that this platform could be saved again. So I didn't take too much notice of that. Another notification hit, and I think it was also saying, okay, we got to take money out, whatever. I think the most chilling thing, and I had goosebumps at that time, was when when a friend of mine messaged me. He was also invested heavily into this platform, and he messaged me saying, "Bro, do you have some money for me to borrow from you for a little bit because I have too much leverage on the platform?" And I said, "Okay, sure, I can lend you a few money on the platform. It's okay. Don't worry about it." But something about that shifted because this person is somebody that does not take money from other people or lend money from borrow money from other people. So something was not right, and I started to get worried. So I excused myself from the meeting, and I went into a meeting booth and just laid my laptop down, my phone down, and started seeing the huge avalanche of people just freaking out and just going haywire. And at that time, I opened up my Coin Market Cap. That's the app that tracks my coin performance or my crypto portfolio performance. And I could literally see it go down in real time. From what was the peak, every single minute was excruciating because you could literally see it go down. And this was at that point that I was sweating. I was profusely sweating. I couldn't talk to anybody. I was just glued to the screen and trying to execute the money withdrawal. Initially, or previously, this platform was super quick with withdrawals or transactions. It happens in less than a few seconds. Now, because everyone was pulling out, it froze, and I literally could not withdraw my money. So I saw my roughly investment in this platform literally go down in a few minutes, and I could see it go down, and I could do nothing about it whatsoever. Yeah, it was quite an experience. It was quite an experience. It humbled me. It was a bone chilling experience, because, but weirdly, it was strange also because I hadn't really come to it in my head where the amount of money that I had really worked super hard on in the past few years was literally just going to flatline. It didn't hit me yet. So I had managed to uh, get out of that meeting booth and go about my day. I told myself I I couldn't really speak well for that whole day. I thankfully did not have a lot of client meetings or internal meetings, and I could just kind of go into my head and start to reflect and think about it. So I did that. I immediately uninstalled my CoinMarketCap app. I uninstalled Binance. I uninstalled all the tracker apps that I had, and my um, and all of these investment apps. Yahoo Finance. What else? Twitter, specifically. And then yeah, so went on with the day. Didn't really do much. Didn't think about it too much. I was being avoidant at that time. And the day went by. Went to sleep. The next morning, I think this is still one of the most profound moments in my life where I can't actually even believe it. I woke up that morning with such a clear perspective of what I had gone through, and with no worries, no anxiety, no frustration, or no pain, or no jitteriness. Because usually, when I was still quite active in crypto, every morning I would check. The first thing I would check is CoinMarketCap. I would check how much money I was making, how much money I had lost, what are the new trends in the space. What are people saying on Twitter? What's the sentiment of people on this project? So on. So it was a lot of information thrown at me and consumed in the morning, even before my day started. And somehow on that day, the day after the aftermath, I was peaceful, strangely. And I told myself, this is so weird because it might just seem like losing all of that money gave me that peace. And so strange. Until this day, I have always reflected on that specific morning and thought to myself, this might be the most expensive lesson that I've had um, in my personal finance journey. So yeah, so I lost it all. It didn't hit me maybe until the next 1-2 weeks, where I did some journaling, did some reflection, talked to friends, talked to at that time I didn't even admit it to my family that I had gone through this, because I was so ashamed with the fact that I was so blindly trusting something just because, sure, a lot of people had a lot of confidence in this project. A lot of people were also investing in this project, and what is also a little bit more humbling is that, yes, this to me is a huge amount of money. It wrecked my financial strategy and my planning, of course. And to know that so many other people were also losing money in the millions even. I think the research from afterwards said that specific day, roughly $6 billion were wiped off. I don't know if that's the actual number, but let me just make the correction in the video if I see it. So yeah, so many people lost so much money, and meanwhile, I had also lost a relatively large amount of money. And so those 2 weeks onwards, I had started to rethink of what money meant to me and how I was going to rebuild that. And so one thing that I did tell myself was I am not going to go back into crypto. I'm scared now. I have learned my lesson, a $10 lesson nonetheless. And I am going to restart with the boring finance, the boring investments. So my goal that I set from that point onwards was essentially number one, I noticed that during all this time, that span from 2021 to 2022, I did not actually have an emergency fund. That's crazy because I had been really being super aggressive with my investments. I put most of my investments into crypto or volatile assets and had no emergency funds. So I told myself, number one, I am going to make sure that I can sleep well at night, knowing that I have some type of emergency fund first. So that was my first goal, is setting the 6 months emergency fund. And by 6 months, I'm talking about if I do not have any income for 6 months, which is my monthly spending of 6 months, I would be okay. Or I would have enough buffer or cushion to know that if there were any type of emergencies, health emergencies, situational emergencies, or visa issues, whatever it was, job loss, let's say, I would be okay. And I would be comforted by the fact that I have this amount of money saved. Sorry, whoa. That was a lot to go through. I'm going to take a bit of a sip. So, 6 months. The next goal that I told myself was once I had hit the 6 months of emergency fund, I am going to go back into into investing into more stable options. Things like, for example, ETFs, maybe stocks. Yes, they're more volatile, but not as volatile as crypto. And balance those out with things like bonds or other mutual funds, or even maybe cash instruments. And that shift in thinking has made me more peaceful with the idea that I had actually started this boring investment strategy within those few years. And it's really helped me to shape how I'm thinking about money as well. During that 2021 to 2022 time where, there was this huge explosion of people that were raving about crypto, everyone's talking about how Bitcoin has reached the clouds, so to speak, or going to the moon. I forgot the terminology that people used for when a coin was going like skyrocketing. Anyway, I was chasing the highs. I was chasing those highs. I was chasing the high percentage return per year. I was chasing quick wins. And they felt exhilarating. They really felt addicting to me, and I could see those results happening, and because of that, I got sucked into that echo chamber, and it's so clear to me now that how stupid I was, so to speak, or how blindly I was trusting into a lot of these communities and forums, and not really having that critical assessment. There were other forums that I read where people were criticizing about the platform, how unviable it is, and how it could be manipulated and so on. But I didn't really think too much of that. I just thought that these were people that were haters and just, people that critiqued for the sake of critiquing. Yeah. So the biggest takeaway was that basically is that I am investing my money, I am saving my money to protect my energy. And it is not for me to gamble, because financial mistakes hurt uh, more than you gradually making gains that are slow and that are maybe predictable and that are small even. So I have started to embrace smaller wins, slower returns, and more stable investments. Um, so yeah, that's my investment and my saving philosophy today. I do want to end with a reflection entrance that the reflection that I made during that time, and I initially thought I wasn't going to read this, but I think that this story does deserve a bit of that introspection. Um, Let me just open this up and search for it. I I did a ooh, where is that? Okay. Oh, it's over here. So yes, I had been journaling at that time, and I wrote this uh, journal piece, reflection, and I'll kind of just read it to you. I'll skip some of the really personal parts, but largely this is the journal entry that I had. I wrote it on 15th May, 2022. Oh, let me just take a sip first. So, yeah. So it goes. It is 9th May 2022 when I would only start to realize how quickly my biggest share of Luna investment was going to go down. An event for the history books and the millions of people that had heavily invested in the Terra protocol. So Luna, Terra, that's the name of the project. Call it greed and hunger to get stable recurring income, I was determined to make crypto my independent passive income stream, which was almost a reality before it wasn't. I had roughly lost in a span of 3 days. Painful but humbling and thought provoking. I can now say begrudgingly that I had gone through this as one of my most life changing and defining moments in my life. I was obviously in denial when I started to see the market price of Luna go down. I still feel slightly delusional today to see a coin go from $100 at apex to some $0.0002. It was weird and bizarre. I guess I felt the pain I had on the community as a whole. Those who quit their normal jobs for a financial revolution, those that sought to challenge the status quo and build amazing DeFi products, those that kept validators running so that the blockchain would still be functional. All of this down the drain because of a market manipulation by whales and sharks. And whales and sharks are people that have huge amounts of money in crypto. Lesson learned here is a prudent one, and one that I knowingly and blindly failed to follow, which is don't put your eggs into one basket. Diversify and read voraciously. Learn from those who have learned and tried and failed, since you are never going to be able to make the same mistakes, and don't have the risk appetite that you are not allowed to I don't know what I wrote here. This does not make sense. Not have the risk appetite to fail the same way or can't afford to. I don't know what that last part meant, but I think I was trying to say that I shouldn't have the risk appetite where I am not comfortable to fail in that risk appetite. But yeah, that is it. So I hope that you I hope that you don't have to go through this, but and this is, you know, definitely a lesson that I've learned. It's something that I carry until today. There's so many different ways of thinking that has shifted from that point onwards, and honestly, it was the biggest change that I'm so grateful for in some way, uh, because I am in such a healthy financial situation now because of those things that had happened before. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this piece. It's more reflective and more vulnerable than I initially intended. I initially wasn't going to read that journal entry, but I really wanted to do this because it shows, or I hope it shows the growth that I've had from that point onwards to where I am now, and you can have some type of inspiration or learning from this, or maybe a different perspective into how people change from these types of experiences. So please, if you like the content, give me a like down over here. It really helps me a lot. And if you like content like this, please subscribe. I will post more content about more vulnerable stories like this, lessons that I've learned in my life, and whatnot. And also, if you feel that you agree or disagree or want to share some of your experiences as well, please comment down below. And I will see you in the next video. See ya.